Two Opinionated, episode 17, Censorship. So what really inspired this was everything going on right now with the Joe Rogan podcast, just the idea of it. I was first made aware of it when Neil Young wanted to pull his music from Spotify, right? So Neil Young is the artist from, I believe, the 70s. He wanted to pull his music from Spotify because he was pretty much threatening Spotify. If you don't remove this episode, this one podcast on the Joe Rogan show where he interviewed a doctor who was against the mandates, then I'm going to pull my music. Spotify didn't do that. He pulled his music. Another woman, a woman artist, jumped behind him, did the same thing, pulled her music in solidarity with him. And then, so my biggest issue with that was, one, like, artists in general have always been more like freedom of speech, right? Like, say however you feel. What's that?
Like comedy.
Correct. Like say it. However you feel, say it.
Comedy.
Like, my biggest thing is, who fucking cares if you agree? Like, who cares? It's not on you to agree. Someone else's opinion, someone else's views, someone else's thoughts don't have to align with yours for them to have the ability or the freedom to speak those thoughts like that. So to me, to see artists who were born and raised in the 60s and 70s, where that the freedom of speech back then with musicians was so big that they know about it enough to say they should be standing like with that. You know what I mean? Like, to see artists being like fighting for censorship is fucking mind blowing to me.
Yeah,
you know,
it is wild. Like, I seen kind of what was going on. I didn't really dive into it till like we kind of had a conversation about it off of this, you know what I mean, this platform. And then I looked into it more, and it's it's kind of wild how we can't talk about the opposite. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're going so-called anti-vaxxer, you know what I mean? Like, if you're talking about anything that's not pro-vaccination, it's like you're instantly screened, instantly censored. Like, you don't have a voice. Like, you can't talk about it. Like, no, that's not even fucking possible. Like, it's really crazy to me, and it doesn't make any sense, because there's always two sides of a story. Like, you look at history, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of our history, to be honest, I'm not gonna lie, are lies or made up, especially in America. You know what I mean? Our truths told by the so-called victors, you know what I mean? We're supposedly over here we're heroes. Other places we're fucking terrorists. Like, you know what I'm saying? So the whole thing of them pulling their music or shutting down, like, it's a freedom of speech. And especially if it's coming from a doctor and someone that has made vaccinations. Like, I looked at his qualifications and where he's at. Like, he's up there. You know what I'm saying? So for them to just be like, no, you have no more voice. He created vaccines. Like, wait, what? He has no more voice? Yet, like, he's done it. It's crazy. Like, it's
So if you're okay with it, I'm going to interrupt for just a second. Let me read off some of his qualifications. And before I do so, I want to say, I don't know everything he said. I'm not saying I agree with everything he said. I would say this, though, even if I 100% disagree with everything he said, the fact that we're fighting to suppress his thoughts when he is such an accomplished doctor is mind-blowing to me. So let me read off a few of the accomplishments that I wrote off. So it's Dr. Robert Malone. He's the inventor of the original 9 mRNA vaccines. He holds the 9 patents for them from back in 1989. He's the medical director of the Unity Project, which is a group of 300 organizations across America. He's the president of the Global COVID Summit, which is an organization of over 16,000 doctors and scientists who have committed to speaking the truth about this virus, the research, and the treatments. So he doesn't seem to be like some random human being spreading quote unquote misinformation. Like, he seems to be a highly trusted doctor. He has plenty of experience, and he just so happens to disagree with the government's choices regarding this. So with that being said, like, his approach, he's just not afraid to stand against it. So I think that's what makes people like, wait, hold on, we've been told this by thousands of people, and it goes against the CDC. It goes against what we're being told to do. Like, he has over almost 100 peer-reviewed papers that he's published. He's been cited over 12,000 times from his work. So my thought is just, how can he have all of this experience, all this background, all this credibility, and then as soon as he stands against something, he's a
Yeah,
quack. He got removed from Twitter.
yeah, it does, dude. It doesn't make any sense. Like it's everything that is wrong with today. Like, at least in my eyes, my opinion. Like, I'm finding new shit out like on the daily. Like the whole truck convoy that's going on in Canada. Like I don't know. I don't watch the news. You know what I mean? I don't pay attention to the news because I feel like they're just feeding us false information. So finding out that there's this giant fucking protest of thousands of people, like shit, millions. I don't know. Like they're just filling the streets in these big ass semi trucks, and they're protesting in Canada to like, yo, we want our freedom. Like these mandates, like this is against our right. Like they're going ham, and it's like not covered. Like we don't see that going on. Like we don't see any of that. Like I luckily came across like a page that I found on Instagram, but like that's not on our news. It doesn't say what's going on like around the world. Like everything is censored.
I thought Canadians were soft too. Look at them doing
Yeah,
harder than us, right?
seriously, I'm not lying. They're going harder than what we're going. Like than what we're. At least I feel like. At least of what I know, right? Because if everything is censored, there's probably more stuff that's going on right now that like we are not seeing because it's not being broadcast, it's not being posted on the news. So there's probably rallies, there's protests, there's probably a lot of shit that's going on in the States. We just don't know about it. We don't hear about it because it's not brought to light because it's anti-vax. They always say what the revolution will not be televised. Yeah, they're doing the best they possibly can to not televise what's actually going on in this world. It's insane.
Yeah, those truck convoys in Canada. So it started off, my understanding anyway, from what I've read. I'm sure there's more information than I could speak to. They started off as they were doing slowdowns. So they had all these truckers doing slowdowns, and so they were showing how much money is costing people every time truckers slow down. So they'd slow down for a few hours. They do a 24-hour stop, things like that to slow down because that's where the money is. Like I was saying last week at the end, like follow the money. You'll see.
That's right. It's real.
Always follow that money. So they were doing the slowdowns. America was reporting it. The truckers in Canada are protesting against driving conditions, meaning the roads and the weather conditions that they're forced to drive in. That was never what they were protesting. That's just how America spun it to try to say like why this is happening.
Exactly.
Then they just went like ass to front, backing up one of their biggest highways in Canada, and then finally they called off the mandates because of it. So it's just a thought. It's a conversation we need to have. It's a realization that we do have the power. That's not something that would just work in Canada. It would work everywhere. Like we as a whole.
Semi trucks blocking up. Yeah, that would work any and everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like if you stop the production and stop movement of goods and you're fucking with people's so money, since we live in such a capitalistic society, you fuck with the money, shit's gonna change. Like that's real.
So
So
they call it misinformation when they don't want people to believe it. So it'll be, this goes against what we want you to believe, so it's misinformation. It's not another side. It's not another thought. It's not, this is their opinions. They're well respected, well versed in this as well. It's misinformation because it goes against it. So this popped into my head. This wasn't what I was going to say, but in the NFL, did you hear about? I don't know the whole thing, but I know a coach came out, or his assistant coach came out and said he was being offered money to throw games. Right. So this happened last week.
not
So he
surprised.
came out, said he was being offered money like 100,000 a game to throw. And then another coach came out and said, "Yeah, this happened. I reported it like 4 or 5 years ago. He's no longer a coach in the NFL. Both black coaches."
Yeah.
And so that makes a difference because what they're saying too is they hire black coaches at a time for tanking. So the black coach gets a horrible record, and they wouldn't do that to a white coach because it's going to ruin their record. Now they're never going to get a job again in the NFL. And so now they have a horrible record.
This is like my standpoint, and I think I mentioned this earlier. And anybody who's watching, if you take offense, shit, I'm sorry. Like if you are black and you are just super pro go vaccine, then like what the fuck are you doing? Like if you got it, okay, you got it. I get it. If you're immune compromised, okay, like I get it. I understand. You know what I mean? Like you got to look out for yourself. But like Tuskegee, like you know what I mean? Like was that 1932 to 1972 were being fucking experimented on. Like, let's inject black people with syphilis and let's see the effects of over 400 black people. And let's see, oh shit, 25% of them just like, dude, we were experimented on. Yet we just voluntarily, okay, yeah, here, more stuff, yeah, put in our body. Like, no. Like, at least in my head, like, that's how I see it. You know what I'm saying? And that shit that didn't get out till what? I don't know how long after, you know what I mean? That was censored or hush hush or kept on the low. Like, everything is kept on the low. And then when it's brought to light, I feel like we're honestly becoming more and more numb to the shit that's going on that we just kind of like brush it off. Like, I don't know. It's just crazy to me.
There's a lot of stuff like that. I was trying to do a promo run like in 2018, 2019 for my song American Thinking that was coming out. So every day or every few days I was putting up a picture on Instagram. You can go to my Instagram and scroll, you can find them. Tuskegee Experiments was one of them. I believe Mexicans being deported even though they were citizens, the Japanese internment camps. There was so you know how Hitler was doing his eugenics experiments or using eugenics. It was pretty much getting rid of like the lower people, right? Like people with cognitive disabilities, people who might not be as bright or might have some sort of disability, like wiping people cleaning,
Yeah.
like it was a cleansing, right? Not just of Jewish people, but there was a cleansing. America did that too. There is an American eugenics thing in the 30s or 40s where they would literally send people door to door. They would survey you, see if you have people that have a mental illness, some sort of brain development issue, and they would try to cleanse people. Like that's a thing that America did around the same time it was being done in Nazi Germany.
Surprised by, and that's the thing. There's so much negativity or so much ugly and so much hate in this world. Like, that's what a lot of people are getting to the point to. Like, I'm not fucking surprised. Like, I'm no longer surprised. Censorship, I'm not surprised. Like, everything it has something thrown over the top of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, finding the truth is damn near impossible. Like, Nick Cannon talking about how black people are the real Israelites.
Yeah, that's a deep one. That's
Bruh, he kicked off of his own show for spinning something that potentially is extreme. Like that's facts.
well, if you look at Farrakhan, you look at how the U.S. treats Farrakhan. You see how he says the same stuff, right?
That we're real fucking Jews. Like it's I don't know. I've heard it so many times, and I've looked into it, and I didn't hear a lie. And then the whole thing with Whoopi Goldberg and the fact that she said it's not about race. Like, that shit's not about race. Like, people, like, we're being censored when people are telling, like, the truth. Like, it's insane. Like, I said it not the other day, but, like, earlier today about, like, my lyrics that I fucking wrote. It's like, there's money and confusion. And there's fucking, like, what is it? There's money and confusion, poverty where truth is. Like, yesterday's heroes are tomorrow's fucking useless. Like, it's beyond true. Like, it's become more and more true.
Yeah, it's taking information, it's taking facts, it's suppressing it, and then it's censoring anybody who speaks out about it. It's censoring anybody who wants to spread that information. So back to the NFL thing for a second. So the black coach said being offered money to throw games. Another black coach from a few years ago jumped in on his side, said same thing happened with me. I had a record of like 32 or 1 in 32 or something like that, like 1 win, 32 losses because they were trying to throw games to get better picks. And then he read up on his contract and was like, why would you read me up? Like, you can look at it. Like, why would you know what I mean? If I wasn't getting paid to throw games. Then the NFL, the same day that claim was put out, said, I think it was the NFL, said these are baseless claims. You've done no research into it. You don't know if it's baseless or not, but you're going to come out and just say these are baseless. Like that's the censorship. Like that's the spread of the misinformation. That's the how can you're not even trying to make it look like you tried. The same day, like imagine someone being like, "Oh, so and so touched me or did this," and then the government like, "Nah, it didn't happen." You haven't even looked into it yet.
That's real.
Like that's wild to me.
You can't mess with the money. If you mess with the money, that's everything.
So this I haven't given this much thought. So I'm gonna do the thinking at the same time. So pardon me if I say something that I later regret. So I'm gonna go ahead and just go.
Go
So
for it.
Joe Rogan and his use of the N word, because we were talking about Joe Rogan, right?
Oh yeah, and
We're talking
which again, like I said, if you're offended by it, like I'm an India Ari fan. Like I like her music. You know what I mean?
I love India Ari, and she is a product of censorship. She's a product. She has been suppressed. She has been blackballed. She's been kicked out of the music industry
Yeah,
for speaking her mind, being so pro-black, being so out there with her views and opinions, and expressing herself and not being controlled. She has been blackballed. Common has a song where he said they tried to India Ari me. Like
yeah,
he literally, like, people know about this. So
yes,
to say anything about her or go against what she's saying is very hard for me, because I appreciate who she is and who she's been, for all of us. So I'm not trying to do that in any of this. That's not my point.
I feel
Um,
it. But at the same time,
it,
I feel like she could have waited at least a little bit.
so
Like
Joe Rogan's being attacked, right? And I'm not saying like he's a victim. I'm not gonna stand here and act like I'm trying to protect Joe Rogan either, because for one, I don't know enough about him. For two, just looking at him and his outward,
uh,
like, bravado, he doesn't need me to, and I don't have no desire to protect him, right? So just looking at it for what it is. So he's being attacked for having the doctor on there. I don't even like the word attacked. He's being, another word for attacked, for
punched down,
having
punched down upon. I don't fucking know.
punched down upon. People are talking about it. People are wanting him to be censored, which I
Yeah,
side with almost anybody who's when someone's trying to censor them. So just on a personal thing. Um, so that happens. A couple artists fighting with Spotify, wanting to get, and it makes me wonder too, like, are you just doing the Spotify thing for relevancy because nobody gives a fuck about your music anymore? Because other artists have jumped into that. It's like, oh, this person had a one-hit wonder 30 years ago, is now jumping into it, and a bunch of artists have come together now. Um, India Ari, I don't know if she was doing this for attention. Again, I wouldn't think so, because she has had plenty of opportunities to take attention if she wanted. She's kept it true. So I believe she deserves the benefit of the doubt because of those things. Um,
but it's
Joe Rogan
that they're fighting for censorship. It's
is
wild.
hard. It's hard. She said she's not going against Spotify because anything to do with the censorship with the doctor. She said it's because Joe Rogan has been using the N word so many times. She's the one that put together the compilation that's going around of him saying the N word like 20 times.
I'd have to look at it, but
Um, no matter what, he shouldn't be using the word, right?
I,
Like you shouldn't even be singing along with the song. Like, you shouldn't even be doing this shit, right? You shouldn't.
nah, you should. You really shouldn't. Kendrick, look, you remember when Kendrick got in trouble for that shit? Anyways, he brought the little kid on stage when he was rapping, and she rapped the lyrics, said the N word. He's like, you can't say that. And they're like, oh my God, why would he have? Like, he got hella backlash for that shit.
I remember that. Okay, I do remember that, because they were saying like, "Oh, he set that kid up because he was trying to make that kid look bad." Like, no, you didn't. Like, yeah, that's wild to me.
Wild as fuck. Trust me. God.
Yeah, yeah, that's wild. So Joe Rogan should not be saying the N word. We both believe that to be fact.
Agreed.
Um, what I heard though, and again, I'm not defending it at all, because he's dead wrong. There are levels to the N word. There are levels to saying, like, singing it along doesn't mean you're a racist, but you shouldn't be saying the word. Him using the word as trying to be an entitled white guy who's just like, I'm allowed to say it because I'm going to say what I say. There's issues there.
Yeah.
I didn't hear him saying it like, you are a nigger, or that person is a nigger. Like,
Yeah.
that's different than singing along. There are levels, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
I have to go back and like, or you have to send it to me. I gotta look it up to see it. But from what you were telling me, it was kind of like I've had a teacher that like has said it in class, but it was part of what was like the study. You know what I mean? Like talking like about the word, but it wasn't like he was calling anybody or saying anybody it. The word was just said. It's kind of like I don't know. I'm not gonna compare that shit to Harry Potter. Never mind. Move on. Keep going.
how the fuck do you compare that to Harry Potter, even if you want to?
Say the fucking his name, you know what I mean? Like they're afraid to say like the Voldemort. But I'm just saying like it there's power in words, you get what I'm saying? But still, he shouldn't be saying the word. But in a different context, a certain context, it has been said. That's all I'm trying to say.
No, I hear you. I wouldn't compare it to Harry Potter. I think that's the wildest shit. So I wrote down here, I wrote down his statement afterwards, and then I want to talk about that. Okay. So this is after the N-word stuff, right? So Joe Rogan said, I guess he put up, I haven't watched, I guess he put up like a 5-minute or 3-minute video of him apologizing and expressing himself. So this is a statement. He said, "It looks fucking horrible, even to me. I know to most people there is no context where a white person is ever allowed to say that word, never mind publicly on a podcast. And I agree with that now. I haven't said it in years." So I just want to break that down a second, because any human being who has grown, any human being who has realized a mistake and is now doing differently, I feel like we need to stop going back in time. There are exceptions, physical harm, violating somebody else's rights physically, anything like that. Fuck a statute of limitations, get them. Okay? If somebody's been saying something, if Joe Rogan is saying, and if it's true, like, hey, I realized this years ago and I stopped, then why are we just now? Like, that's my thing too. Like, NDRE and whoever else, why just now? Like, why now? If it's true he hasn't said it in years, why now are we attacking him for it?
Yeah. I do. I'm right there with you. I'm not sure. It just seems like it's a perfectly placed timing to disregard the fact that we had a doctor that was telling the opposite of what they've been telling us this entire time about the so-called coronavirus and vaccines. It's kind of weird to me.
So now let's pile on. Now let's try to use black people to even push it further, to try to push their narrative. That's how I feel about it personally. And I'm not saying NDRE is being used. I'm saying NDRE has been posting music for years. Nobody picks it up. I don't hear people promoting it. NDRE is outspoken and says stuff. I never hear people promoting it. But now she said something that aligns with their agenda, and now everybody's pushing it. NDRE put out this thing. You know what I mean? Like, now you will try to use her and use her voice
censored before
to push something that you agree with. Correct.
God, dude, our world is crazy.
It's like when Biden says, "I'm going to elect a female vice president, and she's gonna be black," and everybody's like, "Oh yeah, black female vice president. This is awesome." He's telling you, like, look, I'm only doing this because she's black. Like, it's taking away her accomplishments and it's putting him above her. It's saying it's not her being the first black vice president and a female. It's Joe Biden elected the first. You know what I mean? Like, he's taking the shine from that. Same as the first Surgeon General or I forget what position he's about to put in. He said it's going to be a black woman. So that's saying, like, no, like, you're not even qualified, or maybe you are qualified, but I'm not hiring you because you're qualified. I'm hiring you because you fit the box I'm trying to fill. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, placating all this horse shit. Like, it's not that person's accomplishment. I'm just doing it to try to get black people on my side to reelect me.
I feel like that's been like a tactic using for years. So.
But what I'm saying is he's not even trying to hide it. Like, he's putting it on Front Street.
Have to hide shit anymore.
You don't. People are ignorant.
They don't, like, I'm realizing this more and more. Like, look at the whole shit with the whole Trump supporters. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything that's gone down with that, it was just like pro this, pro that, pro this, pro. Anything that went up against it, it was instantly fucking censored. And they're not hiding shit anymore. Like, it's in our face. Like, more shit is coming to the light, I feel like, on the daily of what's been going on. And people just see it. And like I said, people are becoming more numb to the bullshit. Like, oh, fuck, not again. Oh, not again. Oh, this. Oh, this. Oh, this. Oh, this. Like, there's so much negative and so much bullshit that people have become numb to it. Like, no one's surprised anymore.
Imagine you go to you apply for a job, right? And you go up in there to interview, and you interview, and you're done with the job. And then the person who's hiring puts it out on Front Street for the world to know. I'm hiring Donovan because he's black. Fuck your accomplishments. Fuck your qualifications.
Job, to be honest. Like, look, if that's the only reason you're hiring me, then, like, I don't want this fucking job. Like, I don't know. I think different than I feel like most people. So that's I don't know. That's kind of where I stand with that one.
I just feel like it's a fuck you to that person's accomplishment. Like, to me, in my head, Kamala Harris isn't going to be recognized or in the history books as being the first black female president. She's going to be in there. It's going to be Joe Biden elected the first black female president, if that makes sense. Or brought with him, not elected, but brought with him.
Brought with him, yeah.
Yeah, and so since that Vax controversy, Spotify's pulled over 100 episodes of the Joe Rogan podcast. So I don't know what they went through, why they pulled those episodes, but over 100 episodes they've pulled off just to keep people off their ass. So again, censoring and taking off his content for whatever they deemed unfit for their platform anymore.
It's this whole cancel culture. Like, I'm sorry, but people nowadays they're sensitive as shit. Like, everybody's too fucking sensitive. Like, you seen the whole thing with the whole Dave Chappelle shit and how he's like, I'm not punching down. He literally said to people's faces, I feel like people are ignorant and they really don't fucking listen. He said, my problem is not with trans. My problem has always and will be with white people. Like, bro, it's there in our faces. Like, we get this information and people just disregard it. Or they're just like, oh no. Like, nah, this shit, it's real. Like,
people hear what they want to hear.
Yeah, but if people stay on the same course, like, we're just gonna keep getting thrown around. Like, nothing's gonna get fucking done until it comes into a revolutionary war.
But people get defensive. They get in a box. They feel like they have to fight. So then anybody who approaches them, even showing love, it's like, nah, fuck you. That must be hate. You know what I mean? And then when you try to explain it, it's still like, nah, there must be something here because I'm just so in my box, my defensiveness box, that I'm going to hear what I want to hear.
With everything that's going on today, you know what I mean? They're trying to separate us and segregate us. Like, now instead of skin color, it's a fucking vaccine. You know what I mean? Like, it's the same tactics, the same divide and conquer tactics with a different fucking narrative. Like,
it's still skin color.
Skin color is still involved. Don't get that twisted ever. You know what I'm saying? But, like, they're just throwing other shit on top of it in different tactics to keep us separated.
So I wanted to ask you about what are your thoughts of censorship and music as a whole?
Censorship and music? Look at the fucking state of our music industry right now and what we were talking about. Little girls singing WAP. You know what I mean? Like, accepting that. Like we're not speaking. We're not saying anything. And the people that are saying shit, to be honest, I hear more white people saying shit than fucking black people. Like, whether they censor us or not, or whether they're trying to, like, you know what I mean, hide us, I still feel like there should be more Toby Nuwais out there. You know what I'm saying? Or at least attempting to be Toby Nuwais, or people attempting to be Kendrick. Like, why would you stray so far from the direction you know we should be going, if that makes any sense? Like,
or India Reese.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, man. It's hard because we're not saying shit, and all we're pushing.
You took that question, censorship in music. You took that from the standpoint of, like, from a musician standpoint.
Yeah, more or less. You know what I mean? From artists, musicians, and, like, it's just nothing's gonna change if we keep pushing the stupid shit. And that's what they're allowing us to push. They want us to push that shit. They want us to look ignorant. They want us to look dumb. And it's all about the money. Like, it is. Like, that so-called shit is selling right now. The whole hype fucking clout culture.
So when I was asking the question, my thought was more like censorship in music is more like, I hate the fact that, like, you could say on a record and it won't be bleeped out. You could say something like, I hate black people. We need to get rid of them. There's no censorship there. But if you said, I love my niggas, we need to come the fuck together, that's going to be censored. You know what I mean? Like, the intent over the words. So, like, that's where my mind goes of, like, well, what's the intent here? Like, what are we actually saying? I could say, rip your panties off and make love to you right here. And be like, oh, well, he didn't say anything, you got to censor. You know what I mean? Like, as long as you don't say those curse words, there's not a whole high level of censorship there. And so children are hearing these things.
Yeah.
That's where my mind always goes. Children are hearing these things. and it's affecting them. When we were growing up, I know we had, like, I was listening to a playlist earlier, and it's about he's dancing with the girl, and he's not sure if she can tell that he's hard right now. You know what I'm talking about?
Nah.
The song literally starts like, I wonder if she can tell I'm hard right now. Oh, Too Close. The song is Too Close. Girl, you dancing real close.
Oh,
Real close. So
that
oh man, that was my middle school shit. So like that song, even if kids are singing it, they don't know what the hell they're saying.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I like that shit. Like watching Rugrats as an adult. Like, you don't get that shit.
But then as adults,
you know?
But shit isn't hidden anymore. It's just out there. It's just.
But people will point to that.
Huh?
People will point to that to justify it. They'll be like, oh, no, you say that, but when we were kids, you know the shit that they were saying in the music? Yeah, I know it now. I didn't know it then.
Yeah.
You know? Like, fuck R. Kelly, but, like, I don't see nothing wrong with a little bump and grind. That shit hits way different now because of R. Kelly's, what he's been up to. But, like, as a kid, singing that, like, you don't know what the fuck he's talking about. You're just singing it. Adults know what you're talking about, you know?
Nowadays, you're right. Nowadays, kids, it's not really hidden messages. It's basically out there in the open.
Even WAP, like, there's kids go to school, like, do you know what WAP means? Like, yeah, wet ass pussy. Like, oh shit, you know, like, damn, like, I didn't know what like that's it's way different than like just explaining an acronym than it is explaining a process.
Yes.
So very similarly in television, very similarly in movies. Do you know how movies get their rating systems?
I have no clue.
Nobody fucking knows. Like, I watched a documentary on it a handful of years ago.
Shit, I don't know.
So it's this group of parents, they say. There's a group of parents that watch a movie and they look at it for like drug use and like sexual content, language, and then they give it a rating, and like that's just is what it is. Like, it's just this hidden society of like whatever the hell they say. Like, that's a crazy way to censor anything.
Yeah, because I don't know, it's gonna be skewed, 100%. You have a certain group of parents, a small, but that's like everything. Like with the fucking virus and putting shit out there, it's like a small selection. Oh, we tested this on 13 subjects, so it must be okay for the fucking masses. Like, no, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that was that came about after the Nicki Minaj. I think you told me about it. She came out and said something about reproductive issues that could be a result of using the vaccine.
Yeah.
The CDC, I believe it was the CDC, actually replied to her. Like, I don't know why the CDC is talking to Nicki Minaj.
Yeah.
Like, that shows you how much pull they know that she has and what influence they are trying to push.
Exactly.
But they replied and said there's been a study done that proves that the vaccine doesn't cause any reproductive harm. They linked the study. So the CDC links the study. You can go to the CDC's website. You can click on the actual study. You can read the study. You can see exactly what they did. They did the study on, if I'm not mistaken, and I can't be off by too much, they did the study on like 12 men. 12. Like 15. Something like that. Men. No women were involved in the study. It was a 1-day study where they concluded at the end of the day that there's no reproductive harm that can be done. Again, I'm not pushing either side. All I'm saying is facts. Like, I just want facts to come forward. So to say that and then censor those who go against it, where it's like, to me, that's a red flag. Like, that's the research you're doing. Like, I'm not trusting shit you're saying.
That's with everything. This whole like fucking vaccine is. Look how fast it came out. Like, how much research can you actually do? You know what I'm saying? And then you have people that are coming out of the woodworks. That's like, I'm having this, and everything's being censored. Everything's being censored. Like, you don't see the same shit anymore. I don't know what it was with those magnets. That was kind of weird. I can't say like how true that is. I don't have the vaccine. You know what I'm saying? But like, if it's not pushing the agenda, if it's not going to make them any money, it's censored.
There's a good documentary on the food industry in America too. I think it's called Food Inc. There's a few of them, but Food Inc.'s a really good one. They go into how the people who are on the USDA, like the people who approve the foods, who say that it's USDA approved, those people are the same people that used to be in the farming industry. So it's farmers and it's people who are now in the USDA. So they're pretty much regulating themselves. So it's saying USDA approved, but it's just people who are in the pockets of the farmers and back and forth. You know what I mean? So they're regulating themselves. Like their interest is in farming. So like you'll look at it, not you, but like a person might look at it and say, "Oh, this is USDA approved," but that's like saying like a cop said that when he shot somebody, he didn't do anything wrong. So the police said it wasn't wrong. I guess it must not be wrong. You know what I mean? Like there's no.
Bruh, that's like the American Heart Association and like the fucking Cancer Association. Like the biggest sponsors that go to those organizations are meat packaging companies that are getting all of us fucking sick. But that's like everything's fucking censored. Like the whole natural herbalism, healing yourself, like all of that is censored. I was surprised as shit. So I found this out like years ago, like years ago, that, and I even looked it up. Ginger, I was actually, it's a funny story. I was kind of high at this point, or I was high when someone told me this. They were like, "Oh yeah, you can't eat ginger and take medication." And I was like, "Wait, why?" And they're like, "Because it cancels out medication." I was like, if ginger cancels out medication, what does it do to cancer cells, right? And she was like, "Oh shit, like I don't fucking know." So I looked on my phone. There's been like studies shown that ginger in certain cases have been proven to be more powerful than chemotherapy. Why is that like not common knowledge? Why is that not something like, okay, on top of chemo or something like this, we're gonna feed you high doses of ginger? You know what I'm saying? Like, try to like, it's all about money, bro.
Ginger's $1 a pound.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if it cancels out all medications, but I do know you should be cautious with it just because it thins your blood too. It's a blood thinner. So if you're making ginger tea or eating ginger, it'll thin your blood. So if you're already on blood thinners, it could be too much. But what I'm saying is ginger does a whole lot more than a lot of these medications do without the side effects. Like I got ginger in the fridge. I always have ginger, like all the time.
Yeah, my grandma,
I love ginger.
My grandma's like, "I can't eat ginger. My doctor told me not to." I wonder why, Grandma. Like,
yeah,
it's crazy, and that's our world in a nutshell, you know. So
it's very similar. So like now, when my wife got pregnant, is when another battle started, right? Because it's looking for real information about babies. It's looking for real information about childbirth. My wife and I both researching, looking into things. Water birth versus this, different positions, different exercises to do to prepare for birth, different things she should be eating, not eating while she's pregnant. All of this information, which is it's like I should get a fucking degree at the end of this. Like it's bullshit that I don't. So you do all of this research and information, and then you also have to check it versus the UK because the UK has way better standards than we do. So when you'll look at certain things and it'll say in America, this is the recommendation. I type in everything and put it at the end UK. It says, do you have to have UK? Yes, I have to have UK. Google, fuck you. Like, why would I want American bullshit? So go to do the UK experience, like research, right?
Yeah.
Going to the UK, so much shit's different. Like I said, Canada, I don't know if it's back, but like in 2011, 2010, outlawed strollers. They don't allow you to have your kids in strollers because they understand growth and how children will mature better. They'll be healthier growing up. And again, Canada, universal healthcare, they want your kids to be healthy. So you research different countries. Like here in America, they're like, hey, if you don't need to breastfeed, fuck it. Pretty much, like, no need to breastfeed. There's so much research that shows the benefits of breastfeeding, even up to like 2-3 years old in other countries. Here it's like, nah, don't do it, don't need to do it. This is just as good. And then you look at breastfed versus formula fed. You look at higher levels of diabetes, higher levels of ADD, lower levels of immune systems. All of these things that happen. A beautiful thing that research says is that if like a mother will change her breast milk depending on what the baby needs. So the saliva goes into the nipple, then tells the woman's body different levels of things that the baby needs. And so that batch may be completely different because the baby needs a higher level of whatever. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Like super fucking wild. So you don't get that if you're formula fed. You don't get a lot of stuff. And I understand there's people who need to formula feed. I'm not bashing on any of that. Some people can't breastfeed. all of that, like I get that. And as a man, like people be mad at me even talking about it, but I'm complimenting the beauty of a woman's body, right?
For
So
sure.
the more natural anything, the better. But you have to look at different countries because again, follow the money. They'll be like, hey, there's no reason a baby needs to be out of diapers until like 2-3 years
Well,
old.
and the reason why left eye kept going over to Honduras to see Doctor Who. Yeah, ends
Yep.
up right, dies. Nipsey Hussle's over here. I'm a huge fan of Nipsey Hussle. Censorship. He's promoting. Was it like fuck? What was it? Vector 90. He had the whole place for Black kids to go and learn about technology, learn about coding, learn about this, learn about that. He was talking to the LA Police Department about affordable housing for Black people. He was buying up real estate. Like he was doing stuff he was doing shit to help us. They couldn't shut his ass up. He was getting too big. How else do you shut someone up? Through censorship. And like he was about to release the documentary on Dr. Sebi. And then guess who took over that? Nick Cannon. You think
Yeah,
that
you see,
like you think that motherfucker hasn't like received so many threats? Like you released this documentary of this fool curing cancer, curing this disease holistically. Oh, we'll kill you. We might kill your whole family in some fucking way. I guarantee you he got those threats. Like
the world is a beautiful place. The world is all about balance. I truly, and I don't know if we know everything, but I know we don't know everything. I truly don't believe that there's not like a yin to a yang. There's not going to be this disease, and there's also not going to be something on earth that can cure it. I just don't believe that.
yeah.
Like everything's going to have a balance to it. Whether that's an alkaline body, whether that's these herbs or avoiding these foods, avoiding like dairy products because of inflammation, whatever it is, there's going to be things that balance it out.
Yeah.
But the censorship is heavy. And if they don't kill somebody, they're going to censor them another way, which is killing them while they're alive. Like, no matter what you do, now your whole catalog, now your whole existence is invalid. Because if Donovan, I don't want to use you as an example. If some random dude has done all this great stuff for communities, has put out all this research, has funded all these things, saved millions of orphans, whatever the fuck this dude got to do, he does that and has all this information he passes down, and then they get him on a few rape charges. He's done. All of his research is done. All of everything is done because no one's even going to want to cite him or bring up his name.
Whether he did it or not, he's titled.
Correct.
Yeah, there's tactics. Like I said, divide and conquer has not lost yet. So
another point that I had, so book burnings, these are things historically that have happened. Book burnings, suppressing information that way, changing school textbooks to try to make people believe certain things. There's a reason, like history is so broad. Go ahead.
Chopping off noses of statues.
There you go.
Yeah.
But history is so broad, right? Like history is huge. So there has to be a reason that they select the certain things that they select to go into our children's history books. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's just something to consider. And then like Texas, I know like 10 years ago, the state of Texas was trying to write slavery out of school textbooks, try to write it out of history in general, just like try to say it never happened.
Shit, that's literally with everything. That's what they try to do.
Like, so you got to look at history.
Yeah, you got to look at history, but dude, it's so hard to look at history when everything is built on top of a lie. You know what I'm saying? So like, I get it. The Holocaust was fucked up, but that was white on white people. They don't want anybody talking about that shit. And they claim it to be the largest genocide, right?
That's what they say. There's bigger ones, but that's what they say.
Yeah, the largest genocide is fucking here on American soil. It's the fucking Indians, bro. Like, come on, man. Like, they try to flip narratives all the fucking time.
And to look like the hero. Like this Captain America thing that we try to push. Like we are the hero. We are the big bad America, and we're going to come save people. Like, we'll save you if you have some resources to steal, but we're probably going to murder you and not actually save you anyway. So let's look, like, last point that I have, is there ever a good time or where are the good times where you feel like censorship is needed?
That's a tough question. Because when it comes to, I guess, our youth, I feel like our youth, it's nice to censor shit to preserve, you know what I mean, like their minds, you get what I'm saying? And so they could actually, I don't know, have a childhood, you know what I'm saying, and not be corrupted by a lot of this bullshit that's actually going on. But then that also goes and falls upon the parents, you know what I mean? That I feel like that's parenting too. So a time where it's good to censor shit outside of dealing with children, give me the fucking truth always. Like I don't want to fucking lie.
Yeah, children. That's really the only thing I can think of too, and to me too, censorship, but only when we keep the truth. If you want to omit a few words here and there because it's just offensive or isn't right for children, cool. And then, like you said, the parents thing, that it's true, but thinking about it, so I've worked with kids for a very long time, and I've seen parents who are super, like they call helicopter parents. They're just hovering over, don't let their kids be exposed to anything. I've seen the ones that are like, hey, get out there and be somebody. You're 8 years old, come home at 2 a.m, right? Like whatever the fuck kind of balance that there is or isn't. So it is the parents' job to censor certain things. It is the parents' job to limit exposure to certain elements of life that you don't feel like your child is ready for or you don't want them exposed to. However, if my kid goes to school with your kid and your kid's talking about a wet ass pussy, I got a problem. And there's nothing I can do about that because my kid goes to public school and your kid's rapping to him.
Yeah. Well, that's again, and they're gonna say that falls back upon you. You got to have a conversation with your kid so he doesn't get sucked into all of the bullshit.
Yeah, no, conversations are cool, but exposure, I can't stop that.
Yeah,
If my kid goes to public school, I can't stop that.
this is true.
So that's where my mind goes to. And again, being a music artist, being somebody who appreciates expression in all forms, that like whether I agree or disagree, I appreciate that. I still don't feel like that there's a place in society for that. Like I don't feel like that should even be a thing that exists. That song, that, you know what I mean? Like there's no way to protect children from that.
You can't. But like, bro, look at fucking I Can't Feel My Face When I'm With You. Like, didn't that win a Nick Choice Award, like something, Nickelodeon? And that's a song that's like all about drugs. I feel like
It's all about cocaine.
yeah, we've moved into like a different chapter of like bullshit. I don't know how to explain like a lot of stuff that goes on the daily. If I'm being honest, I struggle with this shit on the regular of thinking what the fuck is going on and how dumb can people actually be, and are we gonna wake up? I'm just waiting for one day we wake up and we're in a fucking war. That's what I
What
see.
you're waiting for.
Well, that's what
Fingers fucking crossed.
that's what I see happening. Like I don't see anything else happening. We're gonna wake up one day and people are gonna be, the gap between the rich and the poor is gonna be just, and we're gonna be like, well, fuck, last stand type shit. I don't know, not last stand type shit, but like it's gonna be a war for sure.
Yeah, I just, again, I'm all against this. I'm against the censorship. I'm for Idiocracy for a fact. That's one of my favorite movies.
Yeah,
Have you've seen Idiocracy, Donovan?
yes, I have. She, oh, I'm gonna come see you. All right, baby. I'm waiting. She was getting paid.
The plants needing Gatorade though. They need electrolytes.
That shit was ridiculous.
Man, that's Camacho reminded me of Trump so much. Like that shit was so funny to me. Like
God.
just the ridiculousness.
That movie is fucking real. It's not fake. It's what we're living in. We're living in Idiocracy.
The only thing fake about that movie is they thought it was going to be like the year 3000 or something like that, or a few hundred more years.
Nah, it's current.
It is the parents' job to protect their children. It is the parents' job to limit the exposure. It is the parents' job to have those conversations. But society as a whole, we have to have some sort of understanding. Society as a whole, like there's no such thing, and I've said this before, I don't know if I've said it on here or not. There's no such thing as children's music anymore or adults' music anymore. Children's music now is adult content catered to children. It's fucking wild to me. Like that's the point, to hook you young, little dance moves, little whatever for the kids to dance along to. but it's adult content.
Yeah.
It's fucking wild to me.
Yeah, I'll look at TikTok and all these goddamn dances these kids are doing, and then you have little girls fucking shaking their little bottoms and doing stuff that the parents are doing, and the mom is just like, "Yeah, go kid, go." Like,
I want to know what a Kids Bop WAP sounds like. What the fuck is that?
what?
Like, are they still doing Kids Bops?
Oh hell no! Don't even.
Nigga, imagine.
Stop playing.
Imagine. No, imagine. Just imagine it. Like, what is that acronym? Waffles and pancakes.
Waffles, yeah. Yeah. I was gonna say, yeah, waffles and pancakes.
That kid gonna turn like 15, 16. Someone's gonna be like, "Oh, you want to listen to that WAP?" And he's gonna be like, "Hell yeah," because he's gonna be sheltered as shit and think that they're about to rap about waffles and pancakes and get their mind fucking blown.
Yeah, for real. God, you're stupid.
I just want better. I just want truth. I'm so tired of the emotional shit.
Seriously, stop playing around. JC said there is a Kid Bop WAP. I'll send it to you.
No, I want you to Google it and rap it to me while we're sitting here.
Stupid. Stupid. Like, they can censor anything the hell they want. Like, even people as, I guess, we don't have too many followers on Instagram, so as irrelevant, I guess, is our social media, we still can be censored, which, that's fucking crazy.
I can't stop thinking about the Kids Bop WAP.
My God.
It's so stupid.
Leave it alone. Leave it alone.
No. Is it worse? That's worse, though, isn't it? That they have one?
It's all bad, man. What's worse? All this shit is terrible. Like,
you know what makes me mad? I feel like Lauryn Hill wouldn't make it if she came out today. Like, nobody would give a shit because she doesn't dress that way. She doesn't talk that way. She doesn't represent herself that way.
Style is in. That whole, like, baggy jeans, play the guitar, the whole, like, her style is in right now. If Lauryn came out right now, I feel like she would do numbers.
She would be attacked. She would be attacked for not being pro-women, is what they would say, because she has accountability.
Maybe, but honestly, look at her. You know what I mean? Like, Lauryn Hill took fucking notes from Lauryn Hill. At least that's what it fucking looks like from hearing her music. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I feel like Lauryn Hill would still do numbers, personally. Like, she's too talented. Like, the way she used to be able to sing and she got down on the guitar, like, she would do numbers. Talent still goes away. At least goes a long way. At least I feel like it. Shit. You don't think so?
No, I've heard a lot of talented artists that don't go anywhere. I don't think talent does it. You have to have a thing. You have to have a hook. You have to have people want to be entertained. They don't like. There's not a thing like where Cassie just spitting bars anymore, or it's like, oh, those are dope bars. Like, you have to have bars and a hook. Okay,
bars and a hook, but also you got to remember, like, the studios that we have, you know what I mean? The $2,000, whatever you put into it. Like, back in the day, 10, 15, 20 years ago, whatever, people didn't have access to this shit. You know what I mean? Like, even putting together like a $500 setup fucking 20 years ago was like thousands of dollars. You know what I'm saying? Like, our technology has grown and come a long way to where, like, anybody can put out music. So you have, like, I don't know, maybe you might be right, but I still feel like Lauryn Hill would have still done something. But there'd be like 30 Lauryn Hill copycats trying to do the same shit.
That would be great. I would love to live in a society with 30 wannabe Lauryn Hills.
Yeah, that would be nice. I'd rather have 30 wannabe Lauryn Hills than fucking 30 wannabe Kodak God, man. Our idiocracy, that's what we live in. Anyways, podcast 17, Censorship.
Orville Beginnings' new album comes out 2/22. I'm going to do some shameless plugging real quick because I fucking hate promotion with all of my heart. I just want to do music. 2/22, pre-save available. Everything's available right now. Censorship. I am not censored. So check that shit out.
Damn. Peace.